I've been playing a bit of Core Keeper over the past few weeks. I still have a lot more to go in the game, but I just wanted to talk about it because it's been incredibly fun. It combines so many things that I liked about similar titles, like Minecraft and Terraria, turning it into a very addicting experience that kept me hooked. Core Keeper starts off with you creating your world and customizing your character. It's a basic character creator, but you can even change your background so that you can get different starting perks. After that, the opening cutscene plays. The game tells the story of the player going through a forest with a group of explorers. A strange relic catches your interest, and upon touching it, you get transported into Core Keeper's underground world. Your main objective is to power up the strange relic by defeating 3 bosses represented by the statues around it. To do that, you have to explore different biomes, gather materials, and mine ore so that you can upgrade your equipment to take them on. Though you don't have to focus on that. Core Keeper gives you a lot of freedom. So much freedom that it can be overwhelming at times, since you have to figure out everything as you play. That includes basic mechanics and controls. Like, I've been playing on PC and I spent over 10 hours of the game scrolling back and forth from my torch to other tools I wanted to hold in the hotbar. I didn't realize that holding the shift button automatically brought out the torch, and letting it go brought out whatever you were previously holding, making it less of a hassle to light the area around me. It was a huge game changer since the game takes place underground, so almost every area is completely dark. But apart from my silly experience, I think that Core Keeper will definitely appeal to people who like learning as they go and discovering new things. Exploring was exciting even when I got lost. Core Keeper starts off in a standard map with dirt and rocks, but there are different biomes to discover, like meadows, ruins, and forests. It was actually surprising to see grassy fields and lakes. I thought it was a welcome break from being in the normal underground-looking areas, especially since I've never really thought that underground locations looked all that interesting in these types of games. The pixelated environments look gorgeous, and somehow managed to make its various biomes look distinct and eye-catching. It made them really fun to explore, especially since they would have unique creatures and different points of interest. You can find cool things like abandoned houses and treasure chests, and if you like getting rewarded for finding all that and defeating enemies, then expect to get a huge dopamine rush when playing this. There's so much loot in this game that it's crazy. My inventory was almost always full of loot, ranging from armor, weapons, furniture, food, seeds, and other items. I was constantly organizing my stuff when I returned to my base, and even after 10 hours in the game, I was still struggling to manage the amount of stuff I got. But even though getting all those items felt great, it can be dangerous if you're underprepared and you explore farther away from the middle of the map. Core Keeper has a bunch of different enemies that range from weak slime to stronger creatures that can throw projectiles. If you die, you lose everything in your inventory, excluding the items in your hotbar. I don't think you can permanently lose anything though. You just need to go back to the same spot and retrieve all the items from your gravestone. Thankfully, there's a lot of different ways to deal with enemies in the game. You can use melee weapons, bows, and even magic. I mostly used the strongest melee weapon that I had, but I swapped to magic later on, especially for tougher enemies that dealt a lot of damage. It really helps since I've lost count of the amount of times that my character got squished or stabbed while I was exploring. As for the bosses, well, you'll need to be even more prepared. The few bosses that I've fought had all kinds of tricks up their sleeve. It was mostly trial and error until I figured out what worked. Though a lot of times, I'd just be spamming the attack button and eating a bunch of mushroom-based food to heal myself. It was worth it in the end since I got to progress through the game, and I ended up getting lots of cool loot. Since Core Keeper's gameplay loop revolves around gathering materials and upgrading your equipment, it was a huge help when my partner and I played together early on. The game lets you play with up to 8 players in your world, so you can explore and fight enemies with other people. We managed to build a small base, along with a workbench and a few other things like chests and smelters, but we never really delved into more complex building mechanics since we focused on adventure, with some farming and fishing in between. But apart from that, there's a lot that can go into crafting in your base. Like there's a whole electronics and automation system that I'm way too intimidated to touch because it would have fried my brain. And that doesn't include the other optional workbenches and devices that you can craft. Even though I wasn't very interested in some of them, I think it's awesome that Core Keeper gives you a lot of crafting options, both cosmetic and functional. It lets you do and create almost anything that you want, whether you want a big automated factory or a cozy base with farmland and cute animals. So yeah, Core Keeper's a really good game, especially if you're into survival sandbox games. I've played over 10 hours of the game so far. I think the only negative thing that I can think about it is, well, like I mentioned earlier, it can get overwhelming and complex. There were times where I had to search up what to do next or how to use certain items, but I think it's pretty normal with games in this genre. I still had a lot of fun even though I wasn't sure what to do. Core Keeper's world is massive, and there's just so much to see and do. Even though there's a main objective to complete, the game doesn't force you to pursue it. You can do whatever you want at your own pace, whether you're playing alone or with other people. I recommend Core Keeper if you want an addicting game that you can easily spend hours in, with plenty of things to do. It's out on every platform. Let me know what you thought about the video, and like and subscribe if you liked my content. And thank you to my patrons at Patreon for supporting my channel. Okay, on to the next game. As usual, I have too much to play, both for YouTube and my stream, so yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.